something wild is happening in the luxury world right now. Refund requests are exploding at a pace nobody predicted, and the fallout has forced luxury houses to do the unthinkable: offload millions of bags at prices so low they barely seem real. 2 million luxury bags, many barely used, many literally untouched, have been dumped into the market all at once. Not because brands want to, but because the wave of returns has grown so massive that they simply can't hold the inventory anymore. And when luxury houses can't hold inventory, they mark things down in ways they'd never dare admit publicly. This isn't a seasonal clearance. This isn't a promotional strategy. This is a damage control operation. And the fallout is changing the entire luxury bag landscape faster than anyone expected. Why did refund demands blow up this fast? Why are so many people refunding expensive bags back at the same time? How do we reach a point where brands are quietly slashing prices behind closed doors just to survive? Let's break down exactly how the luxury industry ended up here, and what happens next to the millions of bags flooding the market. The flood begins. It started quietly. A few luxury houses noticed an uptick in return requests around late 2024. Nothing major. Some buyers complained about stitching. Some didn't like the size. Some said the color looked different in person. A few influencers returned bags after one photo shoot. Nothing unusual. But then, everything exploded. By early 2025, luxury brands were seeing return rates double, then triple again. Some brands reported return numbers they'd never seen in their entire existence, products being sent back at 5 times the normal rate. Inside the industry, executives started using one phrase over and over: the return crisis. At first, luxury houses tried to deny it. They blamed customers. They blamed algorithmic shopping. They blamed inflation. They blamed consumer confusion. But the truth was staring them in the face, and it wasn't pretty. Customers were returning bags because luxury brands had quietly changed the way they operate. The quality slip they didn't want you to notice. For years, high-end brands have been cutting corners, subtly, slowly, and quietly. Different leather suppliers, cheaper hardware, thinner straps, mass-produced stitching instead of artisan stitching. Less quality control. Why? Because demand was so high that they couldn't keep up. So they sped up production. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Shoppers noticed, not right away, not at first glance. But once people received their bags, compared them to older versions, or watched detailed reviews online, the complaints started. The leather felt different, the structure wasn't as sturdy, the logos scratched more easily, the metallic finishes chipped, the straps softened too fast. People started paying luxury prices for items that didn't feel luxury anymore. And when customers lose trust, they send the bags back. All of them. The resale market. Collapse that pushed everything over the edge. A huge chunk of luxury customers don't just buy bags to wear them, they buy them to sell them later. For years, this strategy worked. Buy a bag, carry it carefully, sell it for almost the same price, sometimes even more. But then the resale market started to collapse. Platforms like The Real, Vestiaire Collective, Fashion File, and Rebag were suddenly overflowing with supply and drowning in returns of their own. The market was so saturated that even classic bags couldn't hold value anymore. A bag you could resell for $1,600 in 2021, now selling for $680. And even then, it sits for months. Resellers who used to flip bags like stocks started panicking. Collectors who treated bags like an asset class realized the bubble had popped. Regular buyers who planned to resell later realized they would lose hundreds, sometimes thousands. So what did everyone do? They returned the bags, like a reverse gold rush, flooding stores with inventory they didn't even want to hold onto anymore. The retail return loop of doom. The biggest headache for luxury brands isn't just that bags are being returned. It's that returned bags can't legally be sold as new, even if the customer never wore them, even if the tags are still attached, even if the packaging is untouched. Once an item is returned, luxury houses have 2 choices: sell it quietly through outlets or dump it. And right now, the amount of returns is so massive that even outlet stores can't absorb the volume. Some storage centers reported warehouse aisles literally filled with luxury bag boxes stacked to the ceiling. Brands had 3 options: burn the bags, which is illegal in many countries now, hold them, expensive and risky, or slash the prices and offload everything fast. Guess which option they picked? This is how we ended up with 2 million luxury bags dumped onto the market between late 2024 and early 2025. The customer who started it all, and she didn't even know. Industry insiders actually traced the refund explosion back to a TikTok trend, one that none of the creators intended to turn into a crisis. It started with a simple concept: unbox with me, returning everything I bought today. Influencers began filming themselves ordering expensive bags, showing them off, then casually saying, "I'm returning it though." People watched, people copied, and suddenly returning a $700 bag didn't feel like a big deal. It felt like part of the shopping experience. Some creators even bragged about ordering 5 bags, keeping 1, returning 4. For content, brands were getting bombarded with returns from people who never intended to keep anything in the first place. The trend went viral, the refunds went nuclear, and the luxury world has been trying to clean up the fallout ever since. Why brands are panicking now? Luxury houses don't fear discounts. They fear one thing: brand dilution. If too many people see your bags at bargain prices, your luxury status collapses. And right now, luxury bags that once sat proudly at $950 are popping up for $399, $250, $199, even $89 in some dump channels. Social media is now filled with people showing off their luxury hauls, like they're grocery shopping. And for brands built on exclusivity, that's the nightmare scenario. They're slashing prices not because they want to, but because millions of bags sitting unsold would destroy them even faster. The warehouse breakdown. The craziest part of this whole situation isn't even the number of returns. It's what the returns have done to the physical infrastructure of luxury. The warehouses that were built to store a curated, modest flow of goods suddenly became a battlefield. These spaces were designed for prestige, for careful processing, for limited quantities that matched the slow, controlled rhythm of a luxury supply chain. They were never meant to handle millions of items bouncing back at them with the force of a boomerang. Inside, workers described scenes that felt like luxury had lost its balance entirely. Boxes stacked where they weren't supposed to be, racks overflowing, bag after bag arriving in waves so relentless that some employees said they stopped counting. They simply didn't have the time. Every hour brought another truckload. Every day added another layer of pressure. What used to be a place of order suddenly turned into organized chaos, or sometimes just chaos. And because the volume was too much for the system to handle, brands began quietly changing the rules. They had to. It was either adjust the standards or let the entire operation grind to a halt. Returns normally go through several checkpoints: authentication, inspection, cleaning, repackaging, a whole process meant to protect the brand's reputation. But now, that process is bending. Corners are being trimmed. Bags that would have gone through a strict multi-step quality review are now being pushed forward after a quick visual glance. Employees said they reached a point where they could only do the bare minimum. Peek inside the bag, make sure nothing horrifying was left in it, wipe off a fingerprint or two, then move it along. No polishing, no deep inspection, no holding items back for repair. The goal was simply to keep the flood from suffocating them. This shift alone reshaped the entire luxury chain. Suddenly, return bags were being pushed through outlets faster than ever. Bags that would have been held back for refurbishment were dumped into discount channels at lightning speed. And because the brands were rushed, mistakes slipped through. Bags mislabeled, hardware mismatched, dust bags missing, authenticity cards misplaced. Luxury started looking sloppy. And when luxury looks sloppy, customers panic. That panic contributed to the next wave of returns. People received bags that didn't feel as perfect as they remembered. Some blamed the brand, some blamed the courier, some blamed themselves, but they all did the same thing: sent the bags back. This cycle, returns creating more returns, became a nightmare loop no one knew how to stop. The ghost inventory problem nobody saw coming. One of the strangest phenomena to hit luxury brands in 2025 as something industry insiders started calling ghost inventory. It's the mysterious, unsettling gap between what brands think they have and what they actually have. And it's happening because the returns are arriving faster than the system can log them. Imagine this. A brand's internal system might show 6,800 units of a certain bag in stock, but the warehouse floor, it might be holding 12,000 units, or 18,000, or in some extreme cases, double what the system recorded. Boxes piled up faster than teams could scan them. Items got mixed. Some bags were scanned twice. Some weren't scanned at all. Up-to-date inventory became a myth. This ghost inventory made forecasting impossible. One luxury house launched a restock online, thinking they had 500 knits ready to ship, only to discover thousands were already sitting in their returns facility, unprocessed, untouched. Meanwhile, another brand prepared to liquidate a style they believed was overstocked, only to realize the system hadn't recorded half of the returns, creating a logistical disaster. These numbers matter because luxury brands build their identity on precision. They track quantity like it's sacred. Scarcity is their entire business model. But with ghost inventory, they lost the ability to control scarcity. They couldn't maintain illusion or reality. They couldn't tell which products were rare and which were drowning the warehouse. They couldn't price accurately. They couldn't predict demand. They couldn't even plan a marketing campaign without risking embarrassing surprises. This confusion pushed brands to do something they hate doing: panic-slash their prices before the market caught on. Instead of holding the line and pretending everything was stable, they started racing each other to get rid of stock before customers discovered how much of it really existed. The industry quietly shifted from exclusivity to cleanup, and that shift is still happening. The rise of the same-day return culture. But you want to know the part brands truly didn't see coming? The rise of same-day returns. Luxury houses always expected returns, but not like this. They never anticipated a world where someone orders a bag at 10 a.m., films 3 TikToks with it, then drops it off at a return point by 4 p.m. That kind of turnaround used to be rare. Now it's normal. In fact, entire online communities encourage rapid testing. Phrase, "try it before you keep it," took on a whole different meaning. People didn't just try bags on. They styled them, photographed them, made unboxing content, showed them off, then casually returned them as if they were on loan. Because in their minds, they were. Luxury unintentionally became a rental system. But unlike a rental company, luxury brands don't get items back in perfectly controlled conditions. They get them back however customers decide to treat them. Sometimes the bags come pristine, sometimes not. Some returns arrive smelling like perfume. Others arrive stuffed with random receipts. One warehouse worker said they once opened a returned luxury tote and found a Starbucks pastry bag inside. Another found loose tampons. One found glitter, which is worse than a stain because glitter is immortal. Brands can't resell these items at full price, even if they look untouched. So the same-day return culture didn't just increase return volume. It destroyed resale value for thousands of units instantly. Bags that could have gone to regular stores had to be rerouted to outlets. Bags that could have gone to outlets had to be pushed into deep discount retailers. And bags that couldn't be resold at all? Those became the true write-offs, the kind brands try to keep secret. This cycle isn't slowing down. In fact, it's accelerating because customers now feel entitled to test luxury the way they test foundation shades at Sephora. The influencer factor, how social media accidentally crippled luxury. Luxury brands have always courted influencers. They invited them to shows, gifted them bags, paid them for campaigns. But in 2025, influencers became both the fuel and the fire. They made luxury aspirational, but they also normalized returning high-end goods like it was nothing. The biggest shift came from return haul culture, videos where influencers proudly said they'd bought expensive items just to see, knowing they'd return them afterwards. It wasn't shameful, it wasn't a secret, it was content. And that content went viral in a way luxury PR teams couldn't control. People love seeing luxury unboxings, they love the fantasy, they love the moment the bag comes out of the dust bag. But they also started loving the part where the influencer said, "Cute, but I'm returning it." That sentiment spread like wildfire. Influencer trends became a permission slip. If people with hundreds of thousands of followers were returning $2,000 bags unapologetically, then everyday buyers felt justified returning $500 bags. The stigma evaporated. Some influencers even created a pattern: buy a bag, wear it for one outfit, film content, and return it the next day. Sometimes they even forgot to remove their belongings from the bag before shipping it back. That's how casual the return culture became. Luxury brands tried to quietly push back. Some started tracking high-volume returners. A few sent polite warnings. But influencers are powerful. You can't ban the people driving your engagement. You can't block the faces posting about your product. Brands depended on these creators too much to enforce the same rules on them as regular shoppers. So the cycle continued. More returns, more dumped bags, more discounts, more panic behind the scenes. The department store domino effect. Another thing that fed the storm? Department stores. For decades, department stores were the backbone of luxury distribution. They bought wholesale, stocked bags, displayed them beautifully, and sold them to eager shoppers. But when customers started returning luxury bags en masse, department stores got hit twice as hard. First, they had to refund customers directly, often for bags that had already lost value the moment they left the store. Second, they had to send those bags back to the brands, who often refused to reimburse them at full wholesale cost. So what did department stores do? They pushed back. Some refused to place new orders, others reduced their buy-ins by half. A few cut specific brands entirely because returns had become too expensive to handle. And when department stores stop buying, luxury houses lose their biggest pipeline. This created a ripple effect. Without wholesale orders coming in, brands were stuck with even more inventory. Not just returns, but also the bags they originally produced for department stores that no longer wanted them. That's how the snowball grew into an avalanche. A brand that expected to sell 40,000 units through retail partners suddenly found itself sitting on 70,000 units in its warehouse, 30,000 of which came back as returns. And with that kind of volume, they had one choice: dump everything fast. Deep discounts, quiet clearouts, secret resale agreements, liquidation deals no luxury brand would ever admit publicly. This is where the multi-million bag dump truly began. The unexpected villain: shipping companies. If you ask luxury insiders what pushed the crisis from bad to unmanageable, many will tell you it wasn't the customers. It wasn't social media. It wasn't even the brands. It was something simpler: the shipping companies. Returns skyrocketed so fast that carriers couldn't handle the traffic. Some shipping hubs had entire truckloads of luxury returns sitting untouched for days. Packages were delayed. Items arrived crushed. Tracking numbers lagged. Some returns never made it back to the brands at all. Others arrived weeks late, which forced brands to extend refund windows and accept returns they normally would have rejected. And here's the part no one talks about. Shipping companies mishandling packages caused damage. Bags left the customer in perfect condition. They arrived at the warehouse looking like they'd been kicked down a hallway. Who pays for that damage? Not the customer. And not the shipping company. The brand does. So brands began treating every return as a potential, lost the moment it left the customer. They stopped assuming anything coming back would be sellable. This mindset made them even more aggressive about clearance strategies. They needed quick cash to offset losses, so they dumped bags at whatever price they could get. The global return economy: why this isn't just a US problem. A lot of people think this return crisis is happening only in the US or only in Europe. Nope, it's everywhere. Luxury returns surged in Asia, the Middle East, Australia, South America. Regions known for historically low return rates suddenly saw returns spike higher than anyone predicted. In China, changing economic conditions pushed shoppers to return luxury purchases for refunds rather than store credits. In the UAE, influencers fueled a massive try before you commit movement. In South Korea, highly discerning shoppers began returning bags after microscopic quality inspections. A cultural shift luxury houses weren't prepared for. The problem is global, and because it's global, the volume of returns reached a level no single region could absorb alone. That's how we reached the stunning total of 2 million luxury bags dumped onto the market. Not because one area failed, but because every area cracked at once. Where all these bags are actually going. With millions of bags being dumped, returned, redirected, and liquidated, the big question is, where do they all end up? Not in the boutiques, not in the outlets, not even in the official online stores. The majority of these bags are slipping quietly into shadow channels, third-party discount retailers, online flash sale platforms, deep clearance warehouses, membership-only resale sites, and even bulk pallet auctions that everyday shoppers never see. Some pallets mix mid-tier luxury with high-end. Some contain bags that are technically new, just returned too many times. Others contain items that were never even unpacked because the warehouse ran out of time. And because brands are embarrassed to admit they're sending stock into these channels, everything happens quietly, behind the scenes, without announcements or marketing. But the result is loud. 2025 has become the year luxury stopped feeling rare. The end of luxury as we knew it? This is the part luxury houses don't want to talk about, the part that keeps their executives awake at night. Luxury has always been built on 3 pillars: exclusivity, desirability control, But floods, returns, refunds, discounts, and liquidations all destroy these pillars at once. A luxury bag loses desirability when it's discounted. It loses exclusivity when millions of units hit the market at once. And it loses control when customers can buy, film, return, and repeat without consequence. The entire luxury bag spectrum has been shaken. Some brands will survive the shock, some will rebuild, some will pretend nothing happened, and some, quietly and without headlines, will never fully recover from the damage done this year. But there's one upside, and it's a big one. For the first time in a long time, the luxury world is being forced to reset. Better quality, more transparency, less overproduction, actual scarcity, real craftsmanship instead of artificial hype. And maybe, just maybe, this crisis pushes luxury back toward what it was always supposed to be: intentional, thoughtful, and truly special. So that's where things stand. Millions of bags dumped, prices sliced open, warehouses overflowing, and luxury houses scrambling to survive the biggest return crisis the industry has ever seen. Nobody expected it, nobody planned for it, and nobody, not even the most powerful brands, can escape the fallout. Whether this becomes a short-term correction or a long-term transformation depends on what luxury does next and how much more the market can take. If this shocked you, or if you're tempted to grab a deeply discounted luxury bag while the chaos lasts, let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and stick around, because the luxury world is changing fast, and we're just getting started.